Good morning, everyone, especially to the respected members of the committee. I am Katherine Meneses, and I will be presenting to you my research entitled Development and Validation of an Interactive Instructional Material Using Chatbot in Earth Science. For the introduction, the coronavirus disease 2019 pandemic has brought significant changes, challenges, and struggles to all the community sectors, especially in education. Globally, it has affected the most vulnerable learners, increasing disparities, and has aggravated the pre-existing education challenges and issues. It also led to school closures from months to an entire school year, and from face-to-face classes, education shifted to remote or distance learning. With this, lack of connectivity and availability of gadgets are added as challenges in the education amidst the pandemic that excluded 1/3 of all the learners from pursuing remote learning. And on March 16, 2019, the Philippine government imposed an enhanced community quarantine, and the entire Luzon was placed, and this is part of the management and mitigation of the public health threat coronavirus disease 2019. And as part of this mitigation, classes and all school activities were suspended. And being the sole responsible for the delivery of basic education, the Department of Education released its Learning Continuity Plan on May 5, 2020 through the DepEd Order Number 12 Series of 2020, which is also known as the adoption of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan for school year 2020-2021. This is in the light of the COVID-19 public health emergency. This DepEd order will ensure that learning will be continuously delivered to the learners despite the crisis amid the pandemic that the country is facing. These can be done through the use of self-learning modules in digital and printed form, radio, television, and through the internet. The challenges in education amidst the pandemic have added to the pre-existing educational concerns in the Philippines, and this has taken intense struggles in educational system. The Philippine Educational Program. The Republic Acted 533, known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, institutionalized the addition of 2-year senior high school in the education program. This is an educational reform that aims to globally produce a competitive and employable graduates, and it makes the curriculum accepted in other countries. And through the DepEd Order Number 51 Series of 2015, these describe the senior high school as third level of education that offers different strands and tracks. And regardless of tracks and strands, core subjects are being taken by the students. One of these core subjects is earth science. These subjects tend to explain natural phenomena in our environment through scientific method and educate learners about the planet Earth, history, structure, processes, and the concerning issues that occur on it. And however, in teaching earth science, content mastery of teachers and lack of materials in delivering quality instruction are seen as challenges. Thus, it is recommended to have a quality materials and equipment in teaching, as these materials are vital tools for teachers and students. The academic performance of students in science in the Philippines. With the challenges of the 21st century of education, the Department of Education sought to prepare the learners through various program, reforms, and delivery system. Given the reforms, there are still unfavorable results on the local and international assessment, which highlighted the quality of education on 2019. With the Program for International Students Assessment, the most comprehensive international assessment, the Philippines scored 357 in science. This is lower than the average and the lowest score among the countries participating in the assessment. Also, the Philippines joined the trends in international mathematics and science study for grade 4. The country scored 249 in science, the lowest among the participating countries. And with regards to the local national assessment, the National Achievement Test for school year 2016 and 2017 for grade 6 and grade 7 are the latest. And for senior high school, we have the basic education exit assessment, an assessment given to the graduating senior high students, and batch 2016 scored 36.721 mean percentage score, and batch 2017 garnered 36.45 mean percentage score, which is the lowest in the history of the national assessment conducted in the Philippines. The proficiency of students in earth science concepts. There are several findings that show the low competence and misconceptions in science, specifically in earth science. Students found misconceptions and difficulties in earth sciences, just like on sun, earth, and moon's movement, earth layers and earth dynamics, and continental drift, describing changes on the earth's surface and the impact of geological events, and the concepts of global warming. Relative to these performances and proficiencies, Ambag in 2018 mentioned that the quality of materials like obsolete textbooks and engaging learning materials is one of the factors resulting from the said science performances and proficiencies. Interactive instructional material. To address these misconceptions and low performances, interactive instructional materials are utilized. So what are these interactive instructional material? These are engaging materials or engaging learning modules that provide direct and fast feedback. These are learning materials that are printed and non-printed materials, gadgets, and other appropriate equipment and resources that promote interaction and engagement in learning to develop the macro and macro skills through media and technology. And according to ACPAN, there are 4 kinds of IMs or the interactive instructional material. First one is the visual, second one is audio, the third one is audiovisual, and the fourth one is ICT. Several characteristics of interactive instructional material were presented by Shank in 2014. These materials must have content quality where there is an alignment of objectives to the content and have learning activities that match the nature of the learning process. Also, they must be easy to use, navigate, and accessible through standard operating systems and applications. They are an interactive instructional material that should provide prompt feedback, interaction, and engagement. And according to Xiao in 2017, there are 3 types of interaction, namely the learner-content interaction, the learner-teacher interaction, and the learner-learner interaction. And if created with software, these interactive instructional materials support precise and convenient interaction between the software and the user, and as well as with the teacher. These applications are a result of innovations that improves learning. These materials can positively affect the learning behavior of the learners, such as self-paced learning and learning motivation if computer-mediated and utilized in distance learning. In brief, Bulchowska said that increased engagement of students benefits from using interactive learning material in teaching that promote quality learning. And engagement leads to interaction. More engagement, more interaction. Significantly, DepEd Order Number 21, Series of 2019 mandates the development and usage of the learning resources to engage learners' active participation and interaction. However, the CAD in 2018 mentioned that the appropriateness of the utilization and development of instructional material should guarantee efficiency in the educative process. The said claim supports the DepEd Order Number 18, Series of 2020, known as the Policy Guidelines for the Provision of the Learning Resources in the Implementation of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, which said that these materials are teaching and learning aids that should be aligned to the competencies in the K-12 curriculum. Also, the DepEd Order Number 12, Series of 2020, also ensures that an alignment of the learning materials to the prescribed curriculum. With the mandates of using technology in teaching, there are now developed technological interactive instructional materials. One of the difficulties of science education is learners' motivation in studying science concepts. And to address the said concern, interactive learning materials are used in instruction. These materials arouse interest among students. And with the kind of learners that we have today, they have grown with modern technologies and sees instruction that utilizes these as interactive, more appealing, and livelier. Thus, the DepEd Order Number 35 series of 2016, known as the Learning Action Cell as a K-12 basic education program, school-based continuing professional development strategy for the improvement of teaching and learning, it says that teachers are encouraged to integrate developmentally appropriate information, communication, and technology in developing and enriching lessons. Because these tools and technology make learning engaging, exciting, convenient, and enjoyable. Utilization of chatbots as interactive instructional material. As one of the innovation in the field of ICT, there are now chatbots that are available. And in this age of information, digital learning and innovating learning are considered a primary struggle. However, distance learning, e-learning, and m-learning have led to the use and development of innovations to make and promote effective interaction between learners and teachers. Accordingly, artificial intelligence is innovating the educational community. It provides more efficient and effective communication and interaction between students and teachers, also in performing teaching and administrative tasks. This technology led to the development of chatbots as one of its applications. These chatbots are interactive, auditory, and textual program that is used to provide clear and organized online chat conversation through text or text speech, in line with direct interaction to human or a person. According to Maruti Tech Labs, there are 3 different types of chatbots: the rule-based, AI-based, and hybrid. The rule-based bot works on a predefined conversation flow that allows the bot to follow the flow of conversation based on the inputs users or the user's inputs choices. The AI bot uses natural language during a conversation, and the hybrid bot uses the mechanism of both the rule-based and the AI bot. Several studies revealed positive findings and implications about the utilization of chatbots in the educative process. First one, it has the potential to capacitate and improve the student learning process. It promotes willingness and curiosity in engaging and communicating with learners. It increases engagement and giving prompt, accurate, and standard feedback 24/7. It allows exploration of students to vast information and makes them feel a sense of connection to subjects and teachers. And also, they can be used to monitor the academic performance. Indeed, these are best to be utilized in these times of COVID-19 as direct contact is not encouraged and advisable. Many chatbot platform. Dale in 2016 said that more than 2.1 billion people use messaging apps, and 49% are 18 to 29 years old, 37% are 30 to 49 years old, and 24% are over 50 years old. As one of the messaging applications, Facebook Messenger has 1 billion users. In addition, Tamayo, Herrero, Martin, Navarro, and Frances in 2020 said that many students and young people use messaging applications such as Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and Telegram on their smartphones in attending school-related activities. Relative to this, in 2016, Facebook decided to incorporate chatbots in its Messenger messaging platform. And it said that breakthroughs aroused in designing and implementing chatbots for commercial applications and platforms through instant messaging applications and websites. One of these chatbots is ManyChat platform, developed by Michael Yang, and it is the #1 Facebook Messenger chatbot that is free and easy to use. Several characteristics or some of the characteristics of ManyChat include offers integration for educational tools like Google Sheet. It provides welcome messages with users' names, making interaction more personalized, releases instant and accurate feedback, and it is easy to navigate and has a user-friendly interface. For the research gap, driven by the lack of local and international recent studies on the development and validation of using chatbot as interactive instructional material in earth science, the researcher developed an accessible and relevant interactive instructional material for distance learning using a chatbot platform in earth science. However, the researcher used a new chatbot platform that is different from the chatbot platform that were used before. And this is Meneses. And the following are the motivation of the researcher in conducting the study. It helped the students increase their academic performance. Teachers can conveniently distribute and evaluate assessment and allot time to perform other tasks. It is environment-friendly, accessible, and cost-efficient interactive material. And this is favorable during this pandemic. The theoretical framework. Ruben Puentedura's SAM-R model is a hierarchical model that helps teachers to identify technological integration in transforming learning experiences. S stands for substitution, A stands for augmentation, M for modification, and R for redefinition. This enables teachers to identify technological integration in transforming learning experiences that will result in higher performances of learners. Also, utilization of technology in creating lessons that will maximize engagement and interaction in a redefining way. There are also several inputs and methods that the researcher used and did to create the validated interactive instructional material in earth science using a chatbot platform. The essential topics that were validated by experts which were aligned to the DepEd prescribed earth science curriculum using a content validity ratio, designing of the material and transforming it into a text-based chatbot using the Meneses platform. The material is accessible offline and online. A printed version and a text-based chatbot or Meneses version was created. And the validation of credible experts was sought to ensure quality of the material. The paradigm of the study includes methodology and approach to conduct the study. For the development phase, it includes preliminary stage, preparation stage, planning stage, and the designing stage. For the validation stage, it includes the experts' validation using the evaluation rating sheet for DE and ODEL modules. Thus, with the combination of the development stage and validation stage or phases, it will lead to the creation of the interactive instructional material using chatbot in earth science. Research problems. Generally, this study aimed to develop a validated interactive instructional material in earth science using a chatbot for grade 11 students. Specifically, it aims to answer how may the interactive instructional material using a chatbot in earth science may be developed, how may the interactive instructional material using a chatbot in earth science be validated in terms of content, design or format, technological or technical, and pedagogy. For the methods. Method shows the research design, evaluators, instrument, and procedures. The research design, it employs the design and development research, which identifies instructional challenges, analyzes needs and requirements, designs and develops materials that address the problems and validates the material's practicality and quality. For the evaluators, there were two sets of evaluators for this study. First set of evaluators were 10 master teachers in science who were teaching senior high school earth science. They validated essential topics to be included in the material. The second set of evaluators are two groups. The first group consisted of one head teacher in science, two master teachers in science, 2 senior high school teachers teaching earth science, and 1 education supervisor and 1 English critic. The second group included 3 ICT experts. The first group focused on the layout, content, and pedagogical aspect of the material, and on the other hand, the second group focused on the technological aspect of the material. And all of these evaluators were master degree holders. The first set of evaluators. These are the profile of the first set of evaluators. For the second set of the evaluators, these are the profile, or these are their profile. Instruments. These research instruments are the tools used to collect, measure, and analyze data. In this study, there were 2 research instruments that were used. These are provided by the College of Education of the institution. The first instrument is the evaluation instrument for topics to be included in the DE and ODAL module. This is a 2-page instrument. The first page is a checklist, and the second page is the content validity ratio formula and the Lao-Shi table for minimum values of content validity ratio. This page was not given to the validators. And with this statistical tool and treatment, given the 10 validators, the treatment should have at least 0.62 CVR to be considered essential. The second instrument is the evaluation rating sheet for DE and ODAL modules. This instrument was used to evaluate the content, design, and technological and pedagogical aspect of the material. For the developing phase of this study, it consisted of 4 different stages, namely the preliminary stage, preparation stage, planning stage, and designing stage. On the preliminary stage, reviewing related literature that showed gaps in the earth science education and students' performance took place. On the preparation stage, it took place where 20 experts and validators were identified, and the approval to conduct the study and securing consent to the concerned people and offices were sought. And this is aligned with the RA, or Republic Act 1073, known as the Data Privacy Act of 2012. And for the planning stage, the identification of essential topics aligned to the DepEd curriculum. And this is with the help of the 10 master teacher validators using the instrument of evaluation instrument for topics to be included in the digital education online digital e-learning module through Google Form. These will be subjected to CVR. And for the designing stage, lessons will be crafted and developed into the appropriate format and layout, which the school's division office of the City of San Fernando, Pampanga follows. The researcher will be adapting the learning material or the parts of the learning material stipulated in DepEd number 42 series of 2016 and DepEd order number 1 series of 2021. And as for the online version of the material, a free text-based chatbot platform known as the Meneses will be used to transcribe or was used to transcribe the material. This is the format based on the DepEd order number 46 series of 2016 and the format being followed on the division of office of City of San Fernando, Pampanga. And I have here a video on how can we transcribe the blueprint or the offline version, the printed version, into a ManyChat platform version. First, you have to click the new growth tool when you came on the dashboard and choose the messenger reference URL. And then change the name of the conversation or the flow on the title. And now you can now click on the the messages. The first one is the welcome messages or welcome message, in which you can personalize it to make the learning experience more personalized in the part of the students. Then you can now click the messenger plus button, and then copy the text that you need to answer or that you need to get on the blueprint, and then paste it on the thread, and then rename the message. And then drag the arrow to make the flow and the direction of the conversation. This will also ensure what message should be sent to the learners. There. And then once you were done, you can click the published. And once it is published, you can now share it with the students. It could be in their group chat or through PM in Facebook. Since this chatbot is in Facebook Messenger, you just have to click or copy the messenger ref URL and paste it and send it to the learners through the group chat or their personal message or personal chat. For the validation phase, after the development of the material, it has undergone the validation of the second set of evaluators in terms of content, design, format, technology, and pedagogy. It is through the use of the evaluation rating sheet for DE and ODEL module tools. A 100% yes response should be attained. The statistical treatment of validation. Frequency, which includes the number of data or responses in each parameter or factor. This involves the number of data or responses in each parameter presented in the table or chart. Then with the percentage, with the formula %, F over N multiplied by 100, where F is the frequency of data per parameter and the N is the total number of validators. Proceeding to the results and discussions. The table 1 shows the distinct phases involved in the development of the interactive material, which involves the planning phase, designing phase, validation phase, and finalization phase. Developing of the material entails systematic and organized procedures and activities to obtain quality and desirable output. Of the 4 phases, the starting point is the planning phase. In this phase, careful planning of the essential activities took place. This involved the downloading of the DepEd prescribed curriculum, guide for senior high school earth science, and preparing updated books and references that are aligned to the K-12 earth science. Also, identifying credible and qualified experts and other validators assured the quality of the material. Regarding the designing phase, activities like determining the format and parts of the lesson included in the material that took place. The Chatbot platform software was also navigated to be knowledgeable and skillful in utilizing the software. And after this phase, the validation phase took place. This phase involved validating the science experts on the competencies to be included in the material. This took place through the administration of the evaluation instrument of 4 topics to be included in the DE and ODEL module for content validation. After that, the data and results underwent statistical treatment and were verified through the Lausche table of minimum values of content validity ratio. Hence, this leads to the identification of the essential topics to be included in the material. Then, the crafting of the blueprint of the material with the essential topics took place using the MS Word. This material was initially validated by an English critic or grammarian to ensure that there were no grammatical errors in the material. and that this material was described on a chatbot-based material using the ManyChat platform and undergone module validation and the aspect of content, design, format, pedagogical, and technological aspects by the expert. And the last phase, the finalization phase, this phase led to the development and finalization of the approved chatbot-based interactive instructional material in senior high school earth science. This data shows that in developing an instructional or interactive learning material, logical and systematized procedures are needed to produce a good material. This will give assurance to the quality of the material. And this is supported by the study or the results of the study of Dakal in 2018 that appropriateness of the utilization and development of instructional material should guarantee efficiency in the educative process. Table 1.2 shows the identified and verified first quarter essential and non-essential competencies to be included in chatbot-based interactive instructional material in senior high school earth science. These essential and non-essential competencies were identified by validation of the 10 master teachers that handles the said learning area. Data were subjected to content validity ratio and obtained a minimum CBR value of 0.62 for 10 expert validators. For the first quarter of senior high school earth science, there are 22 learning competencies. Among these 22 learning competencies, 12 were identified as essential learning competencies and 10 are considered as not essential. The essential competencies have a CBR of 0.8 to 1, which is accepted to the Lausche table, Lausche minimum value for content validity ratio for the 10 expert validators. The data implies that for the first quarter competencies, some topics that were discussed in junior high school science are no longer essential and that new and complex topics are considered essential. These competencies can also be categorized as learning how to take care of the environment, such as explain how energy is harnessed from flowing water, cite ways to address the different environmental concerns and related to the use of fossil fuels, and the geothermal energy and hydroelectric energy. Describe how people generate different types of waste as they make use of various materials and resources in everyday life, and cite ways of reducing the production of waste at home, in school, and around the community. Similarly, the result supports the study of Gabucan and Sanchez in 2021 that showed a below average performance among the students in the concept of global warming. Hence, the learning competencies relative to global warming were considered essential competencies. For Table 1.3, this table shows identified the unverified second quarter essential and non-essential competencies to be included in the chatbot-based interactive instructional material in earth science. The table or the data on this table was gathered similarly to how the data in Table 1.1 were collected. However, in this table, this shows that there are only 20 learning competencies, and among these, there are only 7 that were considered not essential. This is fewer compared to not essential learning competencies in the first quarter. The results denote that most of the essential topics are regarding theories on plate tectonics and the Earth's history. Competencies regarding seafloor spreading and the Earth's history are included or among the most essential learning competencies for earth science prescribed by Department of Education. Supporting the results, Diaz, Bustamante, Pinto, and Cofre, and Suriani and Hariono concluded that there are misconceptions about and there are low performances in earth dynamics, continental drift, and describing changes on Earth's surface and the impact of geological events. Hence, it is evident that the learning competencies regarding these topics should be considered essential. Table 2.1. The Table 2.1 descriptive statistics on the validation of module as to content. Table 2.1 illustrates the validation results of the second set of validators in terms of the content of the learning material for senior high school earth science. The presented results were gathered during the first evaluation where all 6 expert validators have all answered yes on all the criteria or statements under the aspect of content, thus achieving a 100% on each standard. These results signify that the learning material was developed following the essential learning competencies. It has all the essential topics with well-established objectives and developmentally appropriate lessons and activities that can be well understood by learners. This result is supported by DepEd Order Number 18, Series of 2020, and DepEd Order Number 12, Series of 2020 that mandates the alignment of the learning materials to the prescribed curriculum. Similarly, Shank 2014 said that there is content quality when there is an alignment of objectives to the content and learning activities that matches the nature of the learning process, and it would guarantee the efficiency of the material in the educative process. That is according to the call in 2018. Table 2.2, the descriptive statistics on the validation of module as to design format. Table 2.2 shows the validation results of the experts on the module in terms of design, format of the learning material for senior high school earth science. The data were gathered during the first evaluation where the 6 experts have all answered yes, hence attaining 100% on each criterion for the design format aspect. The results imply that the material is well designed and well formatted. Lesson parts are organized, readable, and can easily be recognized. It used appropriate graphics, animations, and videos, and that were relevant and suited for the lesson. This makes the learning material engaging and motivating. Like the data gathered, DepEd Order Number 35, Series of 2016, encourages teachers to integrate developmentally appropriate information communication and technology like animations, audio, and video presentation in developing and enriching lessons. This makes lessons more interactive and more appealing. Table 2.3, the descriptive statistics on the validation of module as to technological. Table 2.3 shows the validation results of ICT experts on the technological aspect of the learning material for senior high school earth science. All 3 ICT experts have answered yes on the first validation of the material, thus attaining a 100% on each criterion or statement under the technological aspect. The result implies that the chatbot-based learning material is user-friendly and may be accessed either online or offline that can provide interaction through various communication tools, specifically in Messenger, hence making the material interactive and accessible for all learners. This result corresponds to the study of Lawrence and Tarr in 2017. Which stated that ICT is an important tool in the education that impacts the quality of learning, interaction, accessibility, and engagement among learners and teachers. Table 2.4, descriptive statistics on the validation of module as to the pedagogical aspect. Table 2.4 shows the validation results of the experts on the pedagogical aspect of the learning material for senior high school earth science, like content and design format aspect. All the 6 expert validators altogether answer yes, thus attaining a 100% on each criterion or statement under the pedagogical aspect. The result implies that the material has well-established lesson objectives, relevant and motivating activities, and creative assessments developed with appropriate strategies suitable for the learning process. This material also provides prompt and accurate feedback, hence allowing learners to engage in a material that ensures quality and effective learning. This result is similar to the findings of Bolchuska and Shank, which state that providing prompt feedback increases engagement and alignment of the objectives, content, and learning activities will both increase engagement. Hence, it promotes quality learning. Conclusions. Based on the results of the study, the following conclusions were drawn. The process of developing the learning material entails systematic and organized procedures that will assure the quality of the material. All the expert validators agreed that the chatbot-based learning material met all the criteria found on each factor on the validation instrument, namely content, design format, technological or technical, and pedagogical. For the recommendations, with the findings and conclusions of the study, the following recommendations are proposed. The development of learning material should follow a systematic and organized procedure and should require validation from credible experts. And they conduct a study that will describe the effectiveness of the developed chatbot-based learning material through implementation and feedback of students regarding their experience in engaging with it can be used to improve the material. And that is all for my study, the development and validation of an interactive instructional material using chatbot in earth science. Thank you so much and God bless us all.